Welcome to the Hidden Driveway Show. I'm your host, Amu, and then joining me today we have a very special guest, Black Smoke Rises. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm I'm DJ5, aka Young Ramana, aka Young Ramana. I don't know how to pronounce it. No one does. Aka Black Smoke Rises, aka XX99. If you call me that. I don't know. It's me. Hi.
Hello. Yeah, no, you were always like 99 to me, but there's been like 99 erasure recently because everyone just calls you X9 now, and it doesn't sit right with me.
I don't know why X9 caught on. I personally, I think I preferred 99 or 99, just because it's cleaner to write out, I think. But I mean, I'm fine with X9, people call me it, and it's like, oh, cool. But yeah, I think the only people who call me 99 are like you and maybe Carter. And like
Carter called you X9 when I was telling him that I was doing this earlier. So
I know he calls me 99 to address me. Usually, sometimes.
I don't know. Nick called you 99, so.
Yeah, I think it really is just like all the Leagues Club members, because I think that's where I established that. And then when I started like talking to everyone else, I was like, yeah, I don't really care. You can call me X9 or 99, whatever. I don't. And then people just stuck with X9. But
yeah, and I thought it was Young Ramana, but then during Noah's interview, he said Young Rimina, which I don't like at all.
Yeah. Okay. The name of the Rimana, it comes from I Divine Cybermancy. I don't know if this is an interview question, but I got my names from okay, so I like to tell the story the XX99. I was 4. I was at my grandparents' house, and I was just like bored walking around, as you do when you're like 4. I'm like, you know what would be a really cool online username handle, or like something like
at 4 years old?
Yes, and I like landed on like 2X's 2 9s. You know what? That looks cool. I'm gonna choose that as my name. And then, okay, for a while I didn't go with it because I thought like my name has to be cooler or whatever. Because I was like 7 or so, and then I settled on something else, and I settled on something else, and I was like, no, that's kind of dumb. So then I just went back to XX99, and I think since I was like 8 or so, I've just been like, I just settled back on XX99. But as for my other names, DJ5 is the spoilers for Lisa the Hopeful. If you haven't played, skip to this time stamp, and then you can I don't but in Lisa the Hopeful, one of the not main characters, she only shows up at the very end of the game and has maybe 2 lines of dialogue. I know there is supposed to be more going on, because there's Lisa the Hopeless, which was supposed to come out. I don't know where that is. I haven't checked up on it, but I really do need to check it out, where she's the main protagonist. But I think, or at least she has a more fleshed out story. But in the Lisa the Hopeful, she has 2 lines, and I thought, you know what, she's cool. I'm gonna make her my whole like aesthetic, not aesthetic, not personality either,
like
just
persona.
Character. Yes, thank you. So I just stuck with that, and then I thought, you know what, if I'm gonna have a DJ name or whatever, like a producer name, I need it to be a little more, because DJ5 isn't gonna be enough to like search, because there's 10,000 DJ5s. I'm an eclectic one, but I was thinking, what could I do? And I went with Young Ramana. And then that's the main character. Well, no. It's okay. Spoilers for I Divine Cybermancy. No. Okay. I'm gonna start off with no spoilers in case you care about the story of I Divine Cybermancy. But it's the commander Rimina. They don't speak in the game. They speak like a made up language. So they don't ever say the name of the character. So it's up to interpretation. But the main, he's like, he's one of the 2 guiding voices that you like go throughout the game, because you have to decide who either the mentor is right or the commander is right. The commander argues for like there's like 2 like different factions inside of a larger faction, and they're at war. The commander just wants the other faction wiped out. The mentor wants peace between the 2 so that they can take out the space fascists, the Federation. But I just thought it'd be a cool name for the thing, because spoilers for the end of I Divine Cybermancy, skip to this timestamp if you don't want spoiler. But it's revealed at the very end where like it's kind of all a dream, because of like the mentor and the commander are both the same, but also not really, because they're both fragments of your imagination, because you actually like you were stuck in an infinite cycle of like reliving past memories from when you were at war and then have returned, and people think you're insane because you end up talking to yourself. So none of the characters are real, and nothing is real in that game, and it's a whole thing. I love it. It's a great game, but it's also very odd. Very odd. It's hard to explain anything in that game because I have 100 hours and I can barely explain the story. But tangent aside, I have my last name, Blacksmith Rise, is the easiest to explain. That's just a dialect song that I like a lot. The really noisy one. But yeah, that's where I got my names from. But that's all I have to say on that.
Yeah, also that Dalek album, I always say Dalek, I don't know if that's right, but that's how I've always said it, is like stupid ahead of its time. Like it was like 2002, right?
Yeah, which is crazy. It does feel very forward thinking, because there was a lot. Like at the same time, it draws a lot of stuff from like the 90s, like industrial, not I guess industrial metal, but like just in general the industrial scene or whatever that was coming up. And then it also has rapping, and then it's a very interesting blend of sounds. And I always like dialect for that.
Yeah, I think that kind of shows up in your work too. And there's a question about that a little later,
Yes.
so I'll get to that in a bit. But to get us started for the first actual question, is there anything that you want to talk about? Is there anything on your mind right now?
A little hungry, kind of have to poop. But other than that, sorry, that's a little too much. Yeah, no, okay, I should probably address this. I am sorry for not dropping in like the past year. I've been in a musical rut, kind of. I've been making songs here and there, but I don't know. I haven't been making music as much just because I haven't had as many ideas. I don't know if it's getting older. I don't know if it's just where I am in life, but I've been meaning to work on music and like drop stuff, but I only make music if I want to. I view this solely as a hobby. So when it comes to music, I'm just like I do it if I do it, and if I don't, it's okay. I mean it's just like I do it for fun. I don't want to stress myself out. So sorry for not dropping, but I maybe dropping soon. I don't know. We'll see. I have a couple of songs I've been meaning to drop. I've been meaning to drop a compilation of all the songs I've been working on, like throughout the year or so, because I have some stuff. There's not a lot, just because I've been only making like a few songs like a month on a good day. But yeah, it's just the sort of I'll do it when I do it sort of thing, and that's all I have to say on that. But as for anything else, I don't really have anything in specific to talk about. I think.
Yeah, I think with your work though, like that makes sense, because you pour like, even though it's all instrumental for the most part, you pour so much of your just like personal experiences like into it that it's like you can't really like rush that process.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. I'm gonna be honest, I've been in a better place the past like year or so. I mean, it's still ups and downs, but I'm not as like in a bad place as I was maybe a couple of years ago. And that's for the better, because Jesus Christ, I was in a bad place a couple of years ago. And I tried to put that into my music, and it was way easier back when, because I don't know, I think it was those feelings were easier to put into song. Now, like I can put my feelings into song, but it's a lot harder for me to do it nowadays, I think, because I don't know. No, that doesn't sound right because that just sounds like it's easier to make music when I'm depressed. But which is not really true. I've had dry spouts when I'm like at my worst, but it's just like I don't know. I think I'm just in a better place, and I don't feel the need to express my feelings in music as much. And with that, I've been dropping less and making less.
Mm-hmm. You know what? As a Black Smoke Rising fan, like I'll take that. Black Smoke Rises fan. I'll take that because I would much rather you're in a good mood instead of making it's not hard to die like another time. So
Yeah, yeah, no. And plus I've made so much music over the past I think of 6 years. I'm okay with hosting for a couple, like what at least 1 year. But
mm-hmm.
I'll make music when I make music. It'll come one day, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's pretty much where I'm at.
Mm-hmm. To talk about music that you have released though, so you've covered so many styles over the years in various projects such as plug, trend, trap metal. But despite all of
Yep.
this, I feel like all your music is still very distinctly like you, no matter what kind of sound you take on. So I wanted to know what are some of your biggest influences, whether it's like music or if there's like I know games are also a big part. So
Oh, biggest influences. Yeah. Okay. I guess I should start with the obvious. She is so good, and I love Origin of My Depression. That is my favorite album of all time, and it's a very obvious influence on my works. Another one is I think Slug Christ is a big influence on me. I don't know why. I just really like the crucifixion of Rapper Extraordinaire Slug Christ. That title's a mouthful. But like, okay, also JPEG Mafia and Devon Hendrix were a huge influence, especially when I was like first really getting into producing like seriously. I mean,
mm-hmm.
I made music when I was like I think I was 13 when I started. No, that is oh my goodness. Sorry, the time passes. I was like 13 or 14 when I first made my first album, and it wasn't particularly good. I'm never going to share it, but I've been making music since I was like young. And then even before that, I made music on Beaterator, which was a PSP game. That was a fun one. A story on that. I got this game called Beats. I think I forgot what it was. I forgot the actual title. It was orange, very orange. But I got it for like when I got my PSP Go. I had a Go, one of the three people to have a Go. But when I first got that, I got Beats for like Christmas or whatever, and then I was like, "Mom," okay, I was like, "My," because I address my mom as my. I don't know where
Mm-hmm.
it comes from, but it was something. So I was like, "My, I I don't." I don't. This game is cool, but I want Beaterator. And she's because she didn't give me Beaterator at first because she was like, well, it looks kind of complicated. I don't know if you could play it. I'm like, I can handle it. And then she's like, well, okay. And then she got me Beaterator, and then I made the worst things of my life, but it was fun. I had a good time, and that's what matters most. And
Mm-hmm.
I still produce like I'm producing in Beaterator. Honestly, I never stopped. It just evolved from there. But as for influences, I don't know. Outside of like those three I listed, of course, dialect was big down to the name. But
I mean, I know like
I
old
think one of
X
the
was
big
for you, right?
oh my goodness, yeah, yeah. I don't know how I missed that, but yeah, like the whole trap metal scene, X in specific. Oh my goodness, I okay. I don't condone what X did, but however, I will admit that he had some very good songs in his early SoundCloud career, and Run Up Mommy in specific is one of the most influential songs to me, like as a producer. And in terms of prods, like or the Virus and Antidote is probably my favorite of the trap metal scene. I don't know why. All of his beats kind of sound similar, but they're a very good sort of similar, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Um oh yeah, no. Godspeed You Black Emperor and Silver Mouse Zion and whatever the other aliases are, Set Fire to Flames. Those are all pretty big influences on me too. I love a good post rock. Mogwai as of late, and also I got a lot from Steve Reich with Early Works. That one in particular, that album is really influential to me. If you've ever heard any of my post like 2022 work, I think when I first listened to Early Works, you could probably tell I really like the sound of minimalism, where it goes when you have two repeating things and then one is slightly off. So then they start phasing and it makes the most beautiful concoction of sounds ever. That's definitely one of my favorite things to do. I don't do it as much anymore, but I still do it a lot. At the same time, it's picky. I don't know. I'm just a sucker for that sort of thing. And yeah, I think that's it. There's definitely way more influence I've had. Like, there's definitely some soundtracks that have had a big influence on me. I guess like no, I think when I was first producing, I think like Smash Bros. Probably definitely I would make stuff like that. Maybe super epic sounding boss fights and whatnot. But like I don't know. When I grew older, of course, I still draw from video games all the time, but and I still sample some video games all the time. But other than that, it's like I couldn't name in specific.
I mean, like Pokemon, right? Like, I feel like that's a pretty big one.
Oh, yeah. I'm missing a lot of stuff right now, but yeah, no, Pokemon is a very obvious example too. Of actually, even now, I make a lot of like Pokemon type beats just because I've always loved the games growing up. Pokemon Diamond used to be my favorite game, but I don't really say that nowadays because I don't know. I still do love Pokemon and I appreciate it, but to play it, I think I would. There's just other games. But yeah.
Yeah, so we've talked about, the influence behind your music, but where are you making that music, right? Because, we all have our own battles, and you've chosen to be an LMMS soldier throughout your entire career, pretty much. I know you tried FL Studio for a little bit, and you just went back to LMMS still. So what draws you to that program? And can you explain like some of the like quirks that it has? Because I know it's pretty different than like other DAWs.
I wish I could. Yeah, no. LMMS is a very funny DAW. It is free. You could download it right now, but you probably wouldn't want to because you could also just download any other DAW. But see, I've tried Ableton and FL. My first time ever producing, I think I tried to use the FL crack that my brother had. It was like FL12, I think, on that hard drive that has been going on for a couple years somehow. I tried to use it and I just couldn't get behind the workflow. I don't know why. I didn't get it at first, like at all. I couldn't figure out how to put notes down, but I was also like dumb. I was a kid. And then after a bit, I tried LMS and I was like, huh, this works. And then after like a year or so, I think I was like, you know what? I don't know. I don't like being limited by LMS's shortcomings. So I switched over to Ableton and I worked fine in it for like a week. And I'm like, you know what? Actually, I think it was like 2 weeks. I'm like, you know what? I kind of miss LMS. So I'm like, okay, I switched back to LMS. And then I think like a year. Okay, when I'm making some of my older projects, I think between, yeah, there was a couple projects before, but up until Carlos is dead, I used Cakewalk for a bit. Cakewalk is a funny DAW. It works technically. It's fine. You can place notes down. You have to get your own synths, so you have to rely on VSTs. But the problem is VSTs like to crash a lot, and Cakewalk likes to crash even more. Cakewalk crashed maybe once, like every time I was using it, at least. It crashed so often. And because of that, I save every like 5 minutes maximum. I'm constantly control S'ing, just because I never want to lose my stuff. Even if the beat sucks that I'm making, I'll still end up control S'ing just in case I want it. It's like a sandwich, you leave half of it in the fridge, get the other half tomorrow. Do the same thing with beats. But yeah, no, I tried Cakewalk, and then I think I hit like Cross is Dead. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try LMS again because I wanted to make Cold Inferno. So I go back to LMS. I'm like, wow, this is actually very straightforward. The thing with LMMS and the thing that most people get hung up about, the pre-built stuff isn't great, especially if you don't use the included. If you don't use the presets, because they're very easy to miss. If you don't use not EQs, effects. If you don't use plugin effects, like even the built-ins are surprisingly fine. But if you don't use the built-ins like plugins, along with the built-in synths, you're gonna get like beep boop noises. It's very basic, very like standard stuff. It's nothing interesting. FL has so many bells and whistles that make it appealing, and the singular bell and whistle that made me want to switch is Gross Beat. That's the greatest thing ever. But I I stuck to LMMS because I can make a beat in LMMS so like it's like second nature to me. I've been using it for like 6-7 years at this point. Dang, I think I've been producing for 7 years. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that just hit me. Sorry. Yeah, because I started in like August of like I was just bored one summer. I'm like, hey, what do I want to make a song? But yeah, I've been producing on LMS for so long. The main thing that draws me to it, it's very simple. The workflow is very basic. You drag in an instrument, you can play on the keys, or you can open up the drum rack and drum on the rack or whatever. Or you can also use the drum rack as pianos or whatever. It's pretty analogous to FL. It just has like a lot of the shortcuts it has, I don't know, work better for me. And navigating around the thing is just the DAW is like clean feeling to me, I guess, because I'm so used to it. But working around it is also really fun to me. I've tried to like I'll use a lot of the pre-built effects. Like I use the I think the 303 emulator, some bass. I use that as a little synth lead all the time. Especially nowadays. I used to use, I think it was Podolsky. I use a lot of free VSTs. Not because I like don't know how to crack. I mean, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of fun in using things that suck. Okay, I shouldn't say that. It's because these are made by very hardworking people. Sometimes they're just made by people who send out the light version so that you can buy the full version, and then it's like whatever. But there's a lot of VSTs that are just made just because people got bored, and I respect that a lot. And I'm very glad they exist because I've made a lot of my music using a lot of free VSTs. I think I couldn't count the number of songs I've used Revitar on, and that's a very funny sounding guitar. But hey, it has a unique style, and you combine it with I think it's FA36 is the amp I use a lot. It has a really unique sound. It's very like it's not gritty. It's very sharp and kind of sounds airy. It's weird, but if you heard it you've definitely heard it. If you've heard a song past if you heard a song from me, it's probably showed up if it isn't a beat or like a straightforward sample beat or whatever. I haven't even put it on some of my beats or whatever. I think if you give it the right VSTs, LMS is pretty great. But even stock LMS, you could do a lot with. I think it's just harder. Like that's with any DAW. It's not about the DAW. I'd say it really is. You know, it's the old saying. You know, it's not about the tools. It's about the tool user, whatever. And of course, there's some things where it's like you got to get really creative. But I think LMS is a good challenge between it's hard to use and it's capable. Because I mean, once you have VSTs, the door's wide open, and hey, it works with 32-bit VSTs, which is more than I can say for some DAWs. But yeah, that's my rant on LMMS.
Yeah, and isn't like the way it works with samples kind of weird too when it comes to like looping and like chopping?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, don't get me started. I think the biggest drawback of LMS is that anytime you want to sample something, if you're not using, you can either use the built-in like audio placer thing, but that lags the DAW for some reason, and also you can't pitch it up and down. And it's like old school the DAW is very old. It doesn't have a good pitch sampler like at all, and it doesn't have the LM or the FL thing where it stretches to tempo like cleanly. So you have to pitch it up and down. You have to go down to like the cents to get a perfect loop. Or this is what I do. I'll take a sample and then I put it in the DAW. I put out like a 4-bar or 8-bar note. It's just one really long A, and then I have to pitch it up and down until the tempo matches or the loop is clean, pretty much. It's very tedious, and it's why I don't chop a lot of my samples, because I have for every time I want to chop a sample, I have to go to the specific point on the sample where like there's a kick or whatever I want to chop, and then I have to create a new instance of that. So you have two different ones, and then you have to move you have to like finagle it to where it actually sounds right. And then half the time it doesn't sound right because the loop isn't perfect. So then you have to go back a little bit, tweak that, make sure it's on the right alignment, because then sometimes it just doesn't sound right. Sometimes the sample speeds up or slows down in the middle of the sample. So then you just say, screw it, I'm working with another sample. It's tedious. It's a lot. And I think that's where Ableton really shines, because I know it has like little pins you can put and stretch, which is, I would kill for that. But it presents a unique challenge, I'll say. And that's why half of my samples are super low pitched or high pitched or weirdly pitched, because I just kind of have to do that to make it sound good on the beat sometimes.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that actually, but a lot of your samples are like in their like standard, like default key, now that I think about it.
Yeah. Because a lot of the time too, I'll match the tempo to the sample, but some other times I'll match the sample to the tempo, which ends up with really arbitrary tempos. I'll have beats with like 157 BPM, 113. I'll do like 183 sometimes. It just depends on the day. It's whatever. It's a crapshoot, but it's a fun crapshoot.
So would you recommend it to any people that are trying to get into music, or no?
If you don't want to go through the hassle of acquiring one of the more popular DAWs, I'd say give it a shot. But if you don't like it, I wouldn't blame you. It's very limiting for a starter, and it took me a while to really get the most out of it. Because I think most people would just say just get FL, but I don't know. It works. It works when it works. And that's the thing. If you're willing to put up with a program that is archaic in nature, yeah, why not? If you like a challenge, I'd say do it. But if you don't want to, if you just want to make music, I don't know. You're probably better off just getting FL or Ableton or Cubase or Reaper, literally anything. I don't know.
What about Logic?
Or Logic. Not everyone has a Mac.
Listen, I will advocate for Logic until I die. Okay, me, Hagen, and Airdrop Kid are like 3 people that use it, but yeah, it can do some cool stuff. Okay.
No, it looks sick. I just don't have a Mac. I remember I was thinking about getting one at one point, and then I realized I can't play 32 or I can't use 32-bit applications. I was like, oh, never mind. And of course, I could do dual booting, but then I don't. Does Boot Camp even still work?
No, not on. I was so mad because half my Steam library just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, that was pretty much the big killer for me. But hey, they were like $100 cheaper for students, so hey,
yeah,
that's the nice part.
I got lucky because when my screen cracked back in May, I think because of the protection plan my like Mac had for my college, like I got it repaired for free.
Oh,
and the guy at the store was like, nice. I have never seen this before in my whole career working here, but it said the fee was $0, and I was just like, okay,
very nice.
Something that's not very nice though, to however you might view it. Your music typically has a very dark and almost like crushing sound to it, right? Yeah. But you went with a much more upbeat tone from ytpmvtape. And that project oozes the like internet nostalgia, right? From like the Brawl Taunts cover art and all the like video game samples and like the ytpmvs, obviously, like that are in the album. Yeah. So I wanted to know, what are some of your favorite memories using the internet as a kid?
Okay, this is an interesting one. Okay, the moment you say that, of course, everyone's like, "Oh, Flash games." I remember Flash games. I wasn't a big Flash games kid. My biggest thing was there's this game I always forget the name of, but it was on I think the PBS Kids website. You had these little cube guys, and I've brought this up before, I think, but you have these little cube guys, and you got to put them through the chute, and you have like you have like blocks you can place to navigate the little guys down the chute, and I played it a lot as a kid. I really liked it and it was very fun and I enjoyed it a lot. But and it had a level editor. That was the biggest thing. If you put a level editor in anything, I'm going crazy. Honestly, I love level editors. I don't know why, especially as a kid. Nowadays, I'll look at it, but like back then, all I wanted to do was create stuff. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, I would make all these little contraptions with the little tubes, see how in what few blocks I can get the little guys down the chute called. But yeah, that was one of the big memories for me. Another one, I don't know why, I was watching Word Girl on the internet, and it was really funny. I thought I was gay for watching Word Girl, but I was just gay because I was gay. That was a fun one. I think I was like explaining to my mom, like, I don't know, it's just cool. And she's like, yeah, okay, that's cool. But yeah, that was a fun one. Oh, I don't know why. I played TF2 as a kid a lot. I shouldn't have. It definitely formed a lot of experiences, but this is definitely one of the biggest things that was influential to me as a kid. I would play idle servers. I had a bad PC. I had the HP Pavilion G4. I know it by heart because it wasn't great, but and it died on me one day, and that was the saddest ever day for me. I was trying to boot it up. I was trying so hard, and it just got stuck and it died. But when it did work, I played Team Fortress 2. I would play on idle servers, and I met a lot of interesting people on TF2. I'll say that much. But I had this furry friend group, and I remember just like I would log on every day. Sometimes I would log on after class or just on weekends. I'd stay up a little bit, and I would talk to them about like life and just well, like everything. I don't know why. It was like I don't know. I treated it more as just like a place to talk to people online, and it was fun. They were all really nice, and even though I was 13 and really annoying, they were all surprisingly. I was the one squeaker that they were chill with. I don't know why, but yeah, no, I was just a 13-year-old in the middle of a bunch of like 18, 19-year-olds, and it was like, wow, I'm cool. But yeah, no, that was a significant time for me. And then I guess this counts too. I remember when Flipnote Hatena, I don't know how to pronounce it. I remember going on there a bit. I used to love the flip notes. I can't remember half of them nowadays, but of course, if you show me, I'll be like, "Oh, hey, I remember that." That was a lot of fun for me as a kid. I remember waking up one day seeing that notice of like, "Hey, we're shutting the thing down because we hate fun or whatever." Because I don't know, Nintendo kills everything super early, which is sad, but it's common for just developers, whatever. And I remember seeing that. I was a little heartbroken. That was sad for me. But yeah, I used the internet as a kid. I can say that much. Yeah.
Did you ever play the like the Wildcrafts game that was on PBS?
Maybe. I don't know. I definitely played a few of them, but I remember there was a fetch one too, but I don't remember anything else about it. I just remember there was fetch, I think, the dog.
Oh, Rough
Is that what his
Man.
name was? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Everybody
remember
I
that.
know in real life, like everybody played the Wildcrafts one, and I know Porcelain, like also we talked about in their interview. And I
Yeah,
like the
I probably have. I just don't remember because I was like 7 or whatever playing PBS Kids games.
And there was one with the like electric company where they had to click like pancakes or something. No,
Huh.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
Those were my two that I was really into.
Hmm. Yeah, for me it was that one, and there was a Martha Speaks game. I don't remember what it was, but I remember how to like you had to make pasta or something, or there's words. It was like the little words inside the soup. I don't remember. I remember playing it as a kid, but I don't remember what it was. I just remember it was fun, and I liked Martha Speaks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like vaguely remember it now that you said that.
yeah, it's all blurry, but it's in there somewhere.
Somewhere. Yeah, and then I
Yeah.
had a similar experience also, but instead of TF2, it was Portal for me because of the how they have the
Oh,
online mode.
yeah.
There was some random guy I matched with on there when I was like 12, and me and him would play like every day over the summer.
Yup. Oh my goodness. That reminds me. I have this old friend that I don't talk to anymore and I feel bad about it. But yeah, I remember I was playing this happened to me. I was playing Borderlands 2. I forgot to close my lobby and one of my this guy jumps in out of nowhere. He's like, "Hey, you want to play some Borderlands 2 or whatever?" I don't know. I was in like one of the earlier parts of the game. I remember distinctly, and he like started chatting with me, and I was like, "Wow, this is crazy." And then we ended up talking for like a bit, and then we ended up playing games for like years or so. And yeah, no, it was just funny because we had like we had become like best friends online just from playing Borderlands 2 one fateful day, and I
Mm-hmm.
forgot to close my connections or whatever. So just one of my I think it was a friend from TF2 that I added like once and never like talked to again. And he just jumped in one day because he saw I was playing Borderlands 2. I was like, oh, that's cool. But yeah, that was a funny time.
Yeah, I feel like those are like the best internet friendships though, and they just kind of happen like that. But I feel like
Yeah,
those don't really, at least for me, because I'm not playing games anymore that much. Like it doesn't happen like that
that's the
anymore.
thing. Yeah, I feel bad because, and a lot of the time, it's kind of hard to have that happen nowadays. A lot of games, and I could go into the whole thing of my feelings on multiplayer games, but a lot of games nowadays, you just kind of join with your friends in a group chat and you're not incentivized to talk to like anyone else. And that's where I think the old school of like joining lobbies really kicked in because you could, of course, it's a double edged sword. You could have, genuinely evil people, or you could meet cool people. And yeah, I don't know. It was a give and take, and especially if you're playing the same servers a lot, you ended up meeting the same people day in day out because you log in at a pretty similar time every day, and you end up like growing close. And it's like it's interesting to see that, but you definitely met a lot of characters on there, so you give and you take.
Yeah. A while ago, I went through my old like not my old. I went through my Discord friend list because there's like 500 people on there, right? And I was like,
Yep.
I don't need all these people in here. And it was just weird
Yeah.
seeing conversations from like 5 years ago where we talked like every day. I just kind of like completely forgotten that all these people like existed.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like you converge for
Yeah.
that one moment and you just kind of go your separate ways after that.
Yeah. It is crazy how that happens. And I have so many old Steam friends that I've never talked to after like the first couple games we played. Just because I used to add everyone and it's like, wow, the internet it's a funny place.
Mm-hmm. Moving from the internet to real life though. So I'm horrible at math, right? And as a result, I
Oh,
struggled a lot in my calculus class junior year. But
yeah.
thankfully, somebody was here to help me out, right? So I'm forever in your debt because
Uh,
night in, night out, you would always help me with my calc homework. And I passed that
yeah.
class with a B. And then even in
Hey,
college, I comp sci homework that I didn't understand. But thankfully, somebody here is very good at computer science and was able to help me, right? So you're good at music, math, computer science. But what are some other
yeah.
skills that you want to have that you don't?
Sometimes I wish I was really good at Quake 3 specifically, but I don't play Quake 3 like that. But no. As for like actual skills, sometimes I wish I was more, like actually social. I am awful with just being social in general, and that's definitely something I've tried to get better at, but I've never been great with it. And I also wish I was better at like geography and like history and all that. I'm okay. I know some stuff, but I'm so It's between I'm so rusty and I'm also just not great because of course I was fine in school because it's one of those things where if you memorize everything you can get away with it, and then you just forget everything when you grow older because I don't know, school doesn't really teach you to learn half the time. You usually have to go out your way to do that, and I did that for like math and like computer stuff just because I was super interested in math and computer stuff. I do find a lot of interest in math. Very complex, very fun, very nice. It's not that bad. But like when it comes to stuff like that, I do wish I was better. But yeah, I don't know. I just like computers a lot. And computers need math a lot. So it works hand in hand.
I think for me, just like languages, I'd love to be better at. Like,
Yeah.
even with my own language, like I can read Hebrew, but I can't speak it at all. And I think I tried for like a day to like figure out how to do that, and I gave up. So I
Yeah.
wish I had the rigor to like do that.
Yeah, no, that's me with Spanish. I feel so bad. Like my mom didn't teach me Spanish growing up, and not a lot of my family spoke it. Like my grandparents a little bit, but they didn't speak it much because I think they just learned English and they usually stuck to that because I think everyone understood that. And of course, like I can kind of decipher Spanish. I'm not great with it. I took 3 courses of Spanish in high school, and I ended up forgetting all of it because I just never used it. But yeah, not a lot of my family speaks it regularly. And of course, my mom taught my brothers, and I don't think they knew it. They know it like they know it, just not like to a like a not a, what's it first language speakers fluentness or whatever words. But me, she just skipped that on me. So I was like, oh, okay. So I just stuck to English, and I wish I knew Spanish. It's very handy to know, but yeah.
Yeah. Do you think you'll ever like try to learn it, or is it just how it is?
Like I'd love to, maybe one day, but I don't know. For now, as it is what it is, and maybe one day I'll try to actually pick up on it better.
Moving on though. So my personal favorite project of yours is ytpmvtape, just due to its more like positive like vibe, which is more like what I'm into. Very
Yep.
close rival of it, right? Is It's Not Hard
Hmm.
to Die, which is easily one of the most heavy sounding albums I've ever listened to. And
Dang.
I know that album came out during a big like transitionary point in your life, so I wanted to know
Oh,
what was the process for working on
yep.
that album.
Oh my goodness. Oh, that was a fun. It's not hard to die. Making that was rough, I think. That I remember, oh my goodness, this is taking me way back. I remember every day I was working on stuff. I would send stuff to like the Links Club group chat a lot. I would like send it, say, "Hey guys, what are your thoughts on this?" And it's like, "Yeah, okay." And I was like, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to keep, what I wanted to take off. There was like an album's worth of Lucy's from that I just never did anything with. A lot of like ambient-esque stuff, but yeah, I remember working on it. I was miserable during that time. I put a lot of my like frustration with life into that album and trying to deal with like dysphoria and just who I am as a person was the main things. And I don't know, a lot of that was like the sound itself came from also an admiration for the trap metal scene. I had listened to a lot of X at that point, I think, and I think that bled into my music. Also, a fun pick for me is Kamiata. I listened to Kamiata a lot in like middle school, I think. Um, I don't know. They just make cool music. I still like some of their stuff, but it is very much just trap metal. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Whatever. But yeah, no, a lot of that came from like my realization that hey, I actually really like trap metal in the sound, even if it's I don't know. Some people don't. I know some people don't like it a lot, but I try to make it interesting. try to do a lot with it, and I was always trying to like push my sound forward, trying to make something unique. I've always tried to make stuff that sounds unique, sometimes to a fault, but that was like the sound of that album was just me being frustrated with life. I don't know, because despite like everything in my life going pretty fine, honestly, I'm very fortunate, but at the same time I'm also very not currently as much, but I was definitely displeased because I don't know, there was always just a feeling of not insecurity, but I guess discomfort just with how things had been going. But yeah, a lot of that just bled into the music, and in general, I'd always made loud music. A lot of my music had been loud, so I guess Fat Metal was a very natural progression of my sound, because I always mix my stuff as loud as possible almost. I don't know, I just like how it sounds. And I remember on Called Inferno I put a compressor on the master and called it a day. That was very fun. But yeah, and I think with like ytpmvtape, I made that just because I wanted to, I don't know, I wanted to make something that kind of hinged, not hinged, but was inspired from pretty much just the old stuff on the internet. With this down to like the Boltons cover. I find that so funny. I don't know why when people point out it's Boltons, because that one has aged, it's aged so poorly, but I think it perfectly encapsulates like the era of early Flash animations and whatnot, even though I wasn't like super into that. I was way more into ytpmbs, which is where the whole inspiration comes from. I feel bad about ytpmb tape solely because I wish I could have credited everyone, and I I know a lot of people don't when they sample stuff, and there's a whole thing of like sample snitching, but I really would like give credit if there wasn't like 30 and I'd have to sort through everything, and it's just a lot. And I know I sampled a lot of really random ones because I had this the reason why that album kind of came to be. I had this folder of ytpmbs I've been collecting since I was maybe 12. It started when I was watching, dang, there's a specific one. It was definitely the Old Spice, one of the Old Spice body wash ytpmbs from the old times. I forget which one in specific, but I saw that. I'm like, you know what? What if I just collected ytpmbs? So then I started watching, like, I would just like go down a list and just add random ytpmbs I got recommended or saw and heard. And a lot of them I didn't listen to like all the way through until way later, or I would just like listen to once or twice. And a lot of the early ones, like one of the most significant ones was that like the Mass DDD theme, and it was, I think it was TF2 by, yeah, it was a TF2 characters with the Mass DD. It's definitely a bit rough, but it was like 2010. Yeah, I couldn't expect. It was so cool to be as a kid. And I think that was the Waskull one. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Also, as a kid, Zarlevel was a I remember downloading Zarlevel's like first couple of like collections of YTVMBs on Bandcamp before I knew what Bandcamp was. And I would listen to those and play TF2. Those are some fond memories. But yeah, it was just fun listening to all those in my playlist, because I think it's like 500 videos at this point, and I feel bad because half of them are like really old. And there's this one guy who exclusively flips JonTron clips. I think it was Subdog, and it was like there was so many. I added all of them. I thought it was funny when I was a kid. But yeah, no, I used to love YT movies, and I still do. I just don't seek them out like I used to as like way back. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you did like a This Is Sparta like Lucy single like before the album dropped.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was completely sincere. I was like, what if I made this Esparta into a type beat? And I thought I kind of wanted to put on the album, but it didn't fit like 100%. But yeah, no, that was a fun song to make. All the songs I made on that, I made them pretty fast too. I was in a point where I can make a beat like that very fast because a lot of them are kind of like formulaic. I don't know. I just kind of made it as an appreciation for YTPs more than like it was just supposed to be a fun little thing. It wasn't supposed to be anything too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm surprised at how many people actually liked it or like turned out to like really enjoy it. I think just because it hits a very specific part of the nostalgia brain for a lot of people because I don't know. A lot of people grew up with that stuff and I mean I'm one of the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I made a bootleg of it for my radio station, and I was playing it in the station when people were like hanging out, and somebody was like, "Wait, does this sample YouTube poops?" And I thought it was like the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, yeah. I thought it was a really funny concept. When I first thought of it, I'm like, wait, because I had like a couple songs at that point. I'm like, wait, why don't I just make a whole tape of this? I'm like, oh yeah, that works. So then I just made it, and then the rest was history. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Isn't it like the top like YTPMV project to like read music also?
probably. I like last time I checked, I heard that, and I haven't checked because there was only like two.
Yeah.
Um, I remember I made it before it became a genre on rate music. I don't keep up with that site anymore. Sorry to everyone who knows me from that site. And I'm sorry for commenting in every box ever up until late. But yeah, I remember when there was like three albums on there. And I remember when it first got rejected. I remember because this was right before Rate Your Music got music videos. So they were like, yeah, this isn't really a genre because it's really dependent on the visuals. And then it got rejected. I voted for it. They rejected it, and then the music videos came out, and they're like, "Oh." And so then we waited the six, or not we, but whoever submitted it waited the 6 months, and it's like, yeah, this is a valid thing because it's music videos, and it's also got the music part, and they're like, yeah, okay, I guess. And I think it was still a little tumultuous to get it in, but it passed, and yeah, and I got on the charts somewhere. I'm somewhere on there, maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't checked.
Yeah. Back to It's Not Hard to Die though. Wasn't it like really inspired by like things aren't that simple because of the producer tag?
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. No, I remember. I forgot how I first heard of Oliver Francis,
Probably
and
Carter, right?
I,
Oh
I
wait, no, no,
want
no,
to
no, no! It
say,
was
but
you
I
first.
think
It was you first. I remember now. Yeah.
really, yeah, no, I remember I had like I was browsing the. Okay, this is gonna sound nerdy. I was browsing the plug charts on Rate Your Music one day, and I stumbled across I think it was Bait Music, and I was like, wait, and I listened to it. I'm like, wait, and this is crazy. So then I listened to it and I thought, wow, this is awesome. And then Jellyfish was like one of my favorite songs at the time. And then after a bit, I don't know how, and then like Carter picked up on it or whatever. And then I think he showed me Things Aren't That Simple or like told me to listen to it. I was like, yeah. And I listened to it and it like wow. I don't know what it is about that album, but it is very, very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's it just fits a very specific sound and yeah no it's not obvious in It's Not Hard to Die other than the producer tag, but yeah no that was a big inspiration when it comes to like I think it was like sequencing the album and just having the tag that came up a lot because I really liked Oliver Francis, and Carter and I feed into each other with that because it's like wow he was really good at that like for like 2 years 4 years or whatever however long, and I just listened to like random songs and he just showed me some stuff and it's like wow we really like Oliver Francis. I'm like yeah, and then anyone else I mentioned Oliver Francis to they usually just try to shoot me in the head or whatever. But yeah, I really liked that album, and that one I think it's Burnout, and then Things Aren't That Simple, Bay Music. Those three are really good, and those were pretty influential on me. Cloud in specific, I've tried to make so many beats like Cloud. I don't know how he did it. I know he stole the idea from a COD montage, which is hilarious to me. He There's this one COD montage. I think it's called Bloom, because the sample's a Radiohead song, and then there's like the one in normal speed, and then it's reversed, and I think he sampled the reversed one, like from the video. It's technically from a live performance, but the COD montage is the only like proof of the actual audio existing. So the clip is so I remember I extracted it once, and I reversed it or whatever, and I just put it in my DOM, like, wow, that really is just the cloud sample straight up. And that beat is so crazy because it's literally just the sample, the simplest bass of all time, and like hi-hats and a clap. And it's those beats to me are like so amazing because they're so simple, yet they're so great. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how the Bappy track came to you, but I know for the two Carter ones, it was like Black David Bowie was like he made that on a whim, and then you put it on the project. Cause yeah, and then I know Flipnote Hatena was like unfinished for a while, and that's why he put it out as like an instrumental single, and then he finished it later, and that's why it's a remix.
Yep. It was it was a process. I remember the Bappy one is inspired by this one song. The artist. Okay, I don't swear. The problem is I don't swear, but their name is a swear, and they're a that not prominent. They were prominent for like one album. They made Is This Beauty, and on Is This Beauty, there is a song called Bootleg, I think. And the very end of that song is like it's just really loud, and that's where the Bappy song comes from. But yeah, no, that was like one of Bappy's first times rapping, which is kind of funny. But yeah, no, Black David Bowie was made like on a whim, of course, from Carter. But trying to get the Flipnote Hatena verse, oh my goodness, that was the story. Because like Carter is like, yeah, I really want to record on this. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. I need this for the album. And he's like, okay. And so we sit there, and it's like 3 months passes. I'm like, okay, I'm ready to drop the album. I need to drop this. How's the verse going? And he's like, I haven't had an opportunity to record because he had to yell for it. So he had to wait for like everyone in the house to leave. So it's like, okay, so I'm waiting for him, and I'm so ready to drop this album. I want to be done with it. And I'm just like, I was about to drop it instrumental. I almost dropped it instrumental. And Carter's like, no, don't drop it. I'm going to record it. And then one day he finally records it. I'm like, oh my goodness. That was like a bombshell because that is still one of my defining songs. That is me. That song means a lot to me. And like, it was like, dang, it took so long to make, but it really was worth it. I put it on the album. I don't know why I called it a remix. I probably should have just called it normal track, but like, it's whatever. Yeah, I'm just so glad it came out finally. That's really all I have to say on that. It just took a while.
Yeah, I was my friends the snippet of it that he sent in the group chat and be like, "This is the best thing ever." He's never gonna finish it, but
yeah,
I get like insane shows like every time I listen to it. I'm so glad it's like a real song that exists.
Yeah, no, it always makes me. I can't believe it. And the sample for that was so funny. I chopped it so poorly, but I want to tell the story of that because okay, the whole story is crazy because I wasn't gonna make it at first because I made a rough draft version almost on Cold Inferno, the 45-minute track, the untitled one. I made that, and I thought it was cool and all, whatever. And then one day, Carter listens to it. He's listening through the whole thing, and he listens to that track that I had made, the like precursor to Flipnote. And he's like, "Oh my goodness, dude, you need to send me this beat." I'm like, "Okay, I'll try to get it for you." So I try to get it. The Cakewalk project straight up doesn't work. Like the plugin works, but it's like it's got a massive delay, and it doesn't sound good, and it's just wrong. I'm like, oh, okay. So I had to sit there and think what I'm gonna do. I used the last bit of my like computer that I could to because I did everything in one project file, one 45-minute project file on Cakewalk with 10,000 VSTs. Ugh. But I got the file, or I got the chops out. They're really unclean, actually. You'd be surprised. But I got the chops out, and from there, I doused them in reverb, just like double deep fried the vocals in reverb, and then it sounded like super haunting or whatever because it's like just super low. And then I just threw on some like drums I'd made. I had two 808s version like planned. There was like a really aggressive one, and then there's the one I went with. The second one, oh, the hugest inspiration for me was Young Pappy's Killa. That was because I'd listened to Two Cups pretty recently when I was making this like the revamp version, and that is an amazing tape, by the way. But yeah, no, I'd listened to that. I was like, oh my goodness, I need to make a beat like this. And also Save Me by Chief Keef. Yeah, that was another obvious influence on that one. Because I think this would inspire the original one, and then the remake was inspired by Killa. But yeah, no, I took the vocals, took the chops out from the original project file, closed that for good, and then I imported them into LMMS, doused them in reverb, and I just slapped the 808s, like the two different versions of the 808s, and then the hi-hats, claps, whatever. And I sent it out. I'm like, hey, Carter, which one sounds better? And he's like, actually, I think I like the one without the distortion. I'm like, oh, all right. I wasn't sure. Like, I kind of wanted the one with distortion, but I just didn't put it. And I remember like when I first got the vocals, I was like blown away. And then there's this effect I put like halfway through the song on I think it was the ad lib, and it gave it like a really sharp sound. I was like, oh my god, this is the craziest thing ever. And yeah, no, that was it was just it was a lot. And that song wouldn't have happened if Carter didn't listen to wasn't like the one of the two people to listen to the 45-minute track on Cold Inferno. If that didn't happen, that song would not exist, which is the funniest thing to me.
Yeah, I know. I don't know where it came from initially, but I know "You Could Touch Fire" was an older track, also, right?
Oh, yes, that was from. What's that? I forgot that album. It's like the Don't Call Me. I think it's Don't Call Me anymore. Yeah, That Man's Done to Me. That's what it was. Yeah, no, that one was on the album. I didn't like the middle portion of it, so I decided to remake it on It's Hard to Die. And I remember when I first made it, and like Carter's like, actually, I think I like the old version more. I'm like, oh, okay. But yeah, no, I remade that track because I just thought the middle portion sounded pointless. And I initially made it because one of my friends was really into Mitski, and they were like, hey, you should sample Mitski. I'm like, it's a funny idea. And so I heard that song when it first came out. I was like, oh my goodness, that would be so crazy to put on an 808. I'm like, yeah, why not? So I did it, and I was like, wow, I was really proud of it. And I still am proud of that track.
Yeah, that's a highlight for me off that project. And I know I told you this when the album came out, but I was like recovering from surgery when it dropped, and I could not sleep, right? And I don't know why, but for some reason I would like listen to Mewtwo Used Recover and picture you like speaking over it, and it would make you pass out. I don't know why.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know how, because that's like that was definitely one of my more abrasive things I've made, but I'm glad it brought you peace.
I mean, I don't know. You just have like a very like soothing presence, like picturing you like talking about whatever it was, just like put me to rest. I don't know. But
Yeah.
I'm about to put you to rest, because we gotta play rock paper scissors. And in the last episode, I beat Ruby Red, so I gotta keep my streak going, right? So, So I want to know if we could play rock paper scissors, best 2 out of 3, and you can just put like emojis in the chat, and then I'll put like a picture up like whatever move you put.
Okay.
And like close your eyes when you do it, because there's like a little delay with the camera, whatever. At least on my end. Okay.
I'm gonna choose actually beforehand.
Okay.
Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay.
That was so late. Okay, whatever. Okay, so you're up 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have your move picked out?
Let me think about this.
Okay.
Okay.
Rock,
Okay, I'm
paper,
ready.
scissors, shoot. Okay, we tied.
Okay. So let me pick. Okay.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Oh, okay. So now we're tied.
Okay.
And this is the deciding one. And I thought about it. I don't think any women have won yet, so you could be the first. So a lot of pressure on you here.
Okay.
Do you have your move ready? Okay. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Okay. Well, I won because I'm super awesome, and women are terrible at rock, paper, scissors. You're the 5th woman to lose at this. Okay, like y'all just suck. I don't know. I don't know what the deal is.
My strategy was I was doing rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors.
Almost had me. So, another Hidden Driveway episode. Another women losing. What's new?
Wow. I'm sorry, women. Yeah, I was never a rock, paper, scissors pro.
Yeah, I've learned that apparently I am, because I think I have like a 60% win rate from doing these.
That's not bad.
And this is the 26th one, so that's like a pretty decent amount that I've done at this point.
Wow. Yeah. Moving
on though, so we talked about it a little bit earlier, but Pokemon has played a big role in your work, from the global terminal sample on Untitled 11, the Mewtwo Cry on Mewtwo Used Recover, and then the Giratina drawing that's on It's Not Hard to Die for the cover art.
Yeah.
So you said Pokemon Diamond's your favorite game in the series, right? But like, what's your favorite Pokemon, just like overall?
Scizor. Scizor is my favorite by a bit. Like I don't know what it is. He's just like, or she, or he/she. I guess it's Pokemon. I don't know. I just find them cool because I don't know. I think between the fact that they're actually good in the games because they get access to, the technician bullet punch stab, it just stacks and it's very hard to kill, also very high defenses. But like, I don't know. I think they're just really cool on a design scale, and I've always liked them as a kid. And of course, I think behind that, and my other favorites were Dialga and Giratina. I think Dialga and Giratina both are just sick. Pocket is cool, but like of those two, or of the three, those two are huge favorites of mine. I just think, of course, Giratina is just cool because it's like the distortion world Pokemon. It's the whole like antimatter or whatever. And Arceus is cool because it's the god. And I think the problem with Pokemon is that after, I'll cut Gen 5 some slack, but after Gen 4 they added god. What are you gonna do? Like, what where do you go from there? And I'm surprised they've lasted 9 generations or whatever. I think it's 9 now. It's too many. They do have bikes, which is kind of lame, but like, I'm surprised. I mean, I would probably make them bikes too if I was the 9th generation and I made God in my 4th. Whoops. But yeah, no, I like Pokemon. There's a lot of cool Pokemon. Like Roserade. I love Roserade. One of my first shinies was a shiny Roselia. And I evolved into Roserade immediately because I don't know. That was really special to me because they're a very cool looking Pokemon. And also, oh my goodness, I remember when I was like 5 or so, I was at my daycare and I found a shiny Ponyta and I was so excited. And I went to show one of my teachers, I think, because he was like kind of a nerd. And then my game crashed, so I couldn't catch the shiny Ponyta. I was devastated. Oh, but yeah, just that hurt, but it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've always been a big Pokemon kid.
Yeah, the only one I've ever played was Omega Ruby for the 3DS, but I'm a
Yeah,
big Samurott fan. That's my favorite, I think.
yeah, that's a funny pick. I always picked Samurai when I played Black and White. I don't know, it's watered Samurai Otter hybrid thing. It's like it's just cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had like promo codes for the game you could use, and I was really bad, right? So I did that, and I got like a level like 50 Samurott for free, and I would just use
Yeah.
I forget what the move was called, but it would create like a big wave and like hit people with it, and I would just
Was it Surf?
yeah, I would just use that over and over and over again. But I didn't have enough gym badges
Yeah.
yet, so like it wouldn't work half the time. But he had enough health that he
Yeah,
could just
because it
tank like all
disobeys
the
you.
hits.
Yep.
But I kind of just cheated my way through the whole game by doing that.
Yeah, that was me. I was lucky enough as a kid to on Black and White. This is kind of embarrassing, but I was young enough to get the event Victini that you get on the island and you have to catch. I remember catching that and I was like, wow, this is awesome. And I just used V Create. It's not a great move. It does 180, but it lowers all your stats pretty much. It's like as good as one time, but I didn't use it one time. I used it multiple times in a row. I was dumb, but you can do that as in Pokemon. So I just used the Victini like a lot. And then I ended up getting, I don't know if I got stuck. I don't even think I attempted them. I got to the Elite Four and I just never played. I think, what was it? Was it black or white? I think it was white. I think it was white because white had Zekrom and I really wanted Reshiram. And I feel so stupid because I really wanted Reshiram as a kid because I thought Reshiram was the coolest thing ever. And I didn't even get Zekrom because you get him like right at the end of the game. But yeah, I got there and then I just never played the game. I think I like all my Pokemon were level like 50, so I was scared I would like mess up.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, like I replayed it like a few months ago, and like it was I could have done that perfectly fine. I went through the whole Elite Four with a steel like a mono steel team like twice because once I forgot to save. But yeah, no, it was fun. I love that Victini, even though I was a dumb kid.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Pokemon isn't the only game that you're a fan of, though. I know Source
it's
Engine
true.
games have had a big influence on like just you as a person
Oh,
and your work as
don't
well.
get me started.
So I'm gonna
Yeah.
let you get started. What were some of your
Ooh.
favorite games from that kind of I guess like genre game? I don't know what you'd really call it. And then what are some of your
First person.
favorite like memories that you have like related to them?
Oh my goodness. Uh, Growing up as a kid, of course, with my HP laptop, and later when I actually got a good computer, or like really pretty good, it wasn't like crazy. But when I grew up, I didn't have much interest in playing a lot of newer games because I didn't think I could run them. And with that, like, of course, they were also $60. I'm not trying to ask my mom for $60 every time
Mm-hmm.
a new game comes out. So what I ended up doing a lot was I would, when Steam sales hit, I'd always like buy random games like no one had heard of. And I think what started it all was the Valve Complete Collection. Everyone and their grandma gets that one. And then like from there you get like you get your portals, your original Counter Strikes, you get Day of Defeat. I played Day of Defeat. That's a funny one. I remember side tangent. I remember loading up Day of Defeat, playing it a little bit. It was really weird. There was like I was playing with a bunch of like 30-year-olds who were like cracked at the game. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was having a pretty good time. I was doing okay. Um, and I was just trying to get to like terms with the controls and everything. It was a weird game, but it's a surprisingly fun one. And yeah, you get that. You get like I liked Gold Source, but I think what really hit for me was Source Engine. I don't know why. There's so many things with Source Engine, and there's so many things I have to talk about. Oh my goodness, with this, because I played Half-Life, loved Half-Life 2. I think the ending like section when you get the super gravity gun is one of the greatest moments in gaming because you just become God for like an hour, and the game's like, oh okay, time, Mr. Freeman, and it's like, yeah. But episode, I don't remember the episodes that well, but I do remember liking them as a kid. I remember episode 1 being like 2 hours. I don't know why that one was so short. I played that, loved Portal. I played Portal. I remember beating it like a night once, just all the way through. It only took me a couple hours because Portal is surprisingly short once you look back on it, especially once you know what you're doing. It's a really nice game. It's like a cake, you know. It's like a cake after like a good meal, I think. But like, I don't know, because it's short, it's sweet, it gets to the point, no filler. Very good. And then I also played Portal 2 as a kid a lot. Loved Portal 2. I haven't played it in ages. I know it's a lot longer. I mean, I just haven't gone back to it. But I used to play the fan, or not the fan. I used to make my own levels. I love, of course, going back to this, I love level editors. So when I made my own levels and I'd upload them to Steam Workshop sometimes when I was on my brother's account or whatever. And then I got my own, and then I'd upload my own or whatever. But I remember loving Portal 2 as a kid and playing other levels and saying, wow, this is awesome. And also, I remember trying to think of other stuff before I get to the big one. Oh, Left 4 Dead. I didn't play Left 4 Dead that much as a kid, but I did like it. I thought it was fun. It's nice. It's a good romp. And I definitely had a good amount of times playing it with friends. And dang, is there anything else in the collection? Oh, there's Ricochet. I like to mess with my friends on Ricochet because no one likes to play Ricochet. It's so funny how many times I'll ask, hey guys, let's play Ricochet. And everyone's just a resounding no. But when I do play, I usually just run around the maps until people leave. Very fun. I like to play it, but it's really just, can you move in the air, the game. There's also, I think it was Gunman Chronicles. It's like you're in space, but there's also dinosaurs. It's a weird one. That's a Gold Source game. That was pretty fun, but I didn't complete it. I didn't get too far, but I definitely put a few hours into it. There's Idivine Cybermancy, which I touched on earlier. Oh my goodness, that game. I don't know why. That game specifically changed me a lot. I quote it a lot, especially in my music. There's a lot of references to it. I've sampled the song from when you like first start up the game and you're in the dream part. I sampled that on the intro song to It's Not Hard to Die. That's where the pads are from, whatever. Yeah, no, I really like that one. That game was super influential to me. There is also I played so much Garry's Mod as a kid. I was gonna get to this later, but like I'll just get to it. Yeah, no, I played Garry's Mod so much as a kid. I have 1,000 hours, I think, and 90% of those are from being a little guy, little thing. And I would like boot up the game. Sometimes I'd boot it up with no add-ons, and I would just make things. I don't know how. I didn't have like a lot of games. Actually, no, I had some games. I don't know. I just really liked playing Garry's Mod, just because I think I was always wanting to be creative as a kid. That's when I got my Wii U with Super Mario Maker. That's why I was like stoked. I'd always wanted a Super Mario Maker, so be able to play that was great. But yeah, when I got Garry's Mod, I was just over the moon. I was making whatever, downloading anything I could off the internet. It was odd, but it was a lot of fun. There's a lot of nostalgia with Garry's Mod, especially. By the way, I made my own cinema map. I don't know if it's still up. It's probably on there. I remember, I think I called it Cinema Theater of 99. I don't know. I didn't have a good name for it, and I also didn't watch movies. So all the posters are just games I've heard of, which is really funny. But Yeah, no, I put like a couple days of work into that map, and it was super gratifying because I had one of my dreams as a kid was to make like an actual map in Hammer. If you've ever used Hammer Editor, don't. This is a message to anyone watching this too. Don't ever use Hammer Editor. It sucks. But I had a lot of fun making that map. It wasn't too bad to make actually, because I'd already used Hammer a little bit, but that was my first like big thing I'd ever done. And it was a blast to make, honestly. It was fun. And I ended up I love that. I just love theater maps in general. I don't know why. There's a certain like vibe from theater maps. Like even if they're like, especially if they're empty, actually, because you'll go in there and there's just nothing other than you and a map and scary ambience sometimes depending on the map, and then just like flying around, seeing all of the maps, and like it was always super fascinating to me to think like, how did they do that? And just like see, I don't know, just to see everything was very cool. But yeah, with Gary's mod, I remember another one of my dreams as a kid. This is so nerdy, but one of my dreams was to collect every single game that was compatible with Gary's mod. You can mount games, and with that, there's like 20 games to mount or so. Half of them are in the Steam collection, but the other half I ended up getting, I think it was Xenoclash, which is a weird game. It's a first person brawler, and it has like parry mechanics and like I think it's parrying. It may just be block. I think it's just blocking. It has blocks and like dodges. You can attack. You can use the little gun that they give you sometimes, but it's a really like dinky little gun. It's funny. And like it's it's a weird game. There's a story, but it's incomprehensible, and it was supposed to be followed up upon, but they didn't finish it because actually I don't know if there's a sequel, but it wasn't on Source. I think there was a sequel, but it wasn't on Source. So I never played it. But yeah, no, that was a pleasant surprise. Another one from that was Infra. Infra is literally a game where you take pictures of property damage. It's like Pokemon Snap, but with corruption, and it's a lot of fun. Surprisingly, it's a dad game, but like it's a lot of fun. You just take pictures, and that was mountable, so I got it. And yeah, no, I had a lot. It took me forever to finish it, though. I think I got like 20 hours in, and finally beat it. Like I think like a couple months ago during the summer break, and I started it like a break ago, so it took me like a year.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of long games, okay, bear with me for this one. There's one called G String, and it's a cyberpunk aesthetic, not game, uh, FPS game. Pretty much just Half-Life 2, but cyberpunk. It's really good. It's very good. I played the beta and the release version, and that beta was really good, and the release version is also really good. But one thing I liked about the beta is that there is a release with copyrighted music. They had like the sole developer who made it over like 5 years. The developer ended up they put like just random like pop songs. So you would be in the middle of combat. You'd enter like a club or like even like a random like broken down street with like futuristic stuff going on. And you would have like random pop music blaring while you're trying to like bullet dodge because you have like bullet time. You're just trying to dodge everything, shoot everyone. It's hard. But oh my goodness, that was a really fun experience, and the story in that game is weird and wacky and fun. It's a blast. It's a little long and it's very hard, but it is very good. And with that, there's also you should have never got me started on this. I'm going for like 30 minutes more. I'm almost done though. I think there's only a couple other mods I have to talk about because
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting into mods now. There's one called That, which is unspecific. It's literally just you walk around and there's a bunch of pretty shapes and cubes, and it's like everything is not monochrome, but flatly textured. It's all like just blaring colors. It's a really weird experience, but it's really nice, and it takes its soundtrack from this one Philip Glass soundtrack, and it's really nice. I like it. But I think my final mod I'll talk about, and one of the most influential for me, was Radiator. This is a Half-Life 2 mod. It's about a gay couple who one of them is dealing with, I think, AIDS, and it plays out in three parts. And the first one is the first date, the second one is a divorce, and then the third one was like unfinished but mostly complete. Is like you're in the point of view with the one who has AIDS, and you're going through his last or some of his memories, and it's incredibly depressing. It's about as fun as it sounds, but it uses the game mechanics of being a game pretty well to integrate the story. Just because it's the first one, you're watching the sky, and the second one, you're trying to move around the world to put boxes into memories. Or you're trying to put memory boxes into like their cubbies. I guess like that one SpongeBob episode, but like sad. And if you drop one, it plays a memory, and it's sad. And then the third one is weird. You have to navigate a house, but there's a ghost following you, but the ghost runs away from you. So you think like, oh my goodness, the ghost is gonna get me and I'm gonna die. But no, it just like runs away from you. So you're left to roam the house, get the keys, and go through memories. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And I've sampled the dialogue in that game a bit, especially on that one album I released, the two dates. That was supposed to be this all links together, because that was supposed to be a love letter to Source Engine games I've played. Also, one game that wasn't as serious but was good. I'm blanking on the name. You play as a leukemia patient who has superhuman abilities. And I mean, that one's not as sad. It's just weird. Very good. The whole album was supposed to be a love letter to Source Engine games. I'm so sad I never finished it, because I couldn't figure out a way to make it cohesive and like interesting for a whole album. So I just ended up releasing it as scraps. And I wish I'd done like a little more with it, but at the same time, I was happy with the individual songs that I'd made for it, or at least some of them. One of them I wanted to release as a single, 2012, which uses, what was it? Is it Ego Death?
Yeah, yeah.
It uses that song, the original version, as a basis. And it's just like an entirely different mix. But Ego Death was one of my I remember when that first came out, and I was like floored that Carter had dropped that. I was like, wow, this is a beautiful song. One of my favorites that I've been a part of. But yeah, no, I'm sad I never finished the Two Dates album, but I did release it, and it's on the internet.
Yeah,
that's really all I have to say about that.
That's actually kind of what the next question is about. It's kind of funny you brought that up.
Oh wow.
I want to get to that in a little bit though, because there's like a little bit more I wanted to say with this one.
Okay. Yeah.
But is there like a specific thing that draws you to like Source Engine games? Because I don't really know anyone else that has this much of like a love and appreciation for him.
Side note, but the game is called Get a Life for the leukemia one. I remember now. But yeah, no. Yeah, I don't know. I think with Source Engine games, there is a certain limitation that they had that ended up making a lot of really weird and interesting games. And it was one of the first to be like something. It was one of the first engines to be like commercially available for really cheap, so people could make fan games in it like super easy. So with that, there's a lot of like fan projects, and I love like the fan projects that people do, and just like everything that like people make. It's always fun to see, and it always breaks my heart when there's a fan project that like is half done and is just never releasing again because the developer like got a job and doesn't care anymore usually. But yeah, no, with Source Engine, I don't know. I also love first-person games in general. I don't know. There's something about the first-person perspective that I've always like killed for. just because I think there's a certain amount of immersion that you get from it that you can't really get out of other perspectives. But I don't know. I think it's between the general feel of that the engine gives to games and the interactivity of just being in first person for 90% of the games and being able to, I don't know, because there are a lot of them are also FPS games, and I also love FPS games, but also a lot of them aren't. A lot of them are like walking sims or, oh my goodness, I completely forgot to mention the Stanley Parable and the Beginner's Guide. Those are both amazing games. And Stanley Parable specifically has had a large influence on my, not like me, but my music, I think, too. I sampled the narrator all the time with Stanley went through the red door or whatnot. It's just, I don't know, it works fine. There's a lot of like commentary on that game or from that game that I find very interesting as like a statement on player interaction versus the game and what the game wants and what the player wants. And I don't know, I find that really neat, even though I'm sure there's a few people that find it pretentious. I don't care. It's my game, and I'll talk about it if I want. But yeah, no, I just like Source Engine games. I just like how they feel, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I always find there's a lot of really good mods for them that I find very interesting.
One that you didn't bring up was CSGO. And I have really fun memories of playing that with like you, Ian, and like Nick, like all the time over the summer.
Yup, I remember that. Those are good summers. Yeah, no, I remember making maps for Counter-Strike or CSGO. It was a lot of fun. It was so much fun to be able to make something, and then like a day later, we all hop on and we'd be like, "Wow, this map is interesting. Wow, this map sucks. Wow, this map is cool because there's this, and this." Because you would always be taking like different risk as a maker just for like the players to find like a spot that they love or like just like an area, there's always the one attraction of a map or like just the layout is nice, stuff like that. And designing that from a maker's perspective and then playing it as a player as well, there's something about that that's so interesting that I always liked. And honestly, I miss that. But yeah, no. CS2 I've heard is like good. I've heard it's like okay. They messed up some stuff, but hey, at least the workshop is apparently better. The hammer is not nearly as awful as it used to be, but I don't know if I want to relearn that, and I don't know if anyone will hop on. But yeah, no, it was fun to do. I remember making the Adam Killa deathmatch map. It was literally I just named it that because I was bored, but it originally had a spinning donut, but that ended up crashing the game, so I just switched it to spinning cylinder. And the spinning cylinder had a lot of really interesting and like weird interactions because you could see through it, but you could like if you walked up to it right, you could freeze it because it's Source Engine. So wait,
was that
weird.
The one where it's like the huge pillar in the middle? That had like multiple layers.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, and it had the two layers, the top and bottom, and it had the crates everywhere. I love putting crates everywhere. That was very fun. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun making maps, and I wish I need to boot up Hammer again one day because I've been working, I had been working on this project. I wanted to make like a Source Engine mod, but it was supposed to be a really sad one, and I made it, and then I started like I was trying to make it, and then I ended up becoming happy again. So I didn't really have the inspiration to make a really sad mod about when I wasn't really sad. So I'll work on it when I work on it. But as for like, I don't know. It's fun. I just like making things. I think being creative is nice.
Yeah. I forgot what it's called, but it was the one where it was like in the ice area, and the whole map was just kind of like you just kind of went in a circle the whole time.
Oh my goodness! Ice in My Veins. I think I called it.
Yeah.
Yes, that was like I think it was everyone's favorite because it had the little surf ramp so you could traverse the map a little. It had the secret area that you could surf that I ended up adding later. And it was so fun trying to get to the secret area and like trying to cheese it. And then we never really found out a cheese, but it was super fun trying to like the battle to get onto the ramp so that you could get in the little area because you had access to like half the map if you got there. So you had that. You had the general like sight points. There was just like open. for a bit, and there was a little rough area that sucked to spawn in. Sorry about that, but like, yeah, no, that was a super fun map to make, and I remember playing it a lot just because it was a fun map to play. I was proud of that one. And I remember what was it? Was it not Filbert? What was the one with the water in the bridge that Zev made? Or Nick?
Was it the one where it was like
it
all
had
the
the
houses
bow.
that were like spread out and there was like a fence you get stuck behind?
Yes, yes. The like on the like the exterior like buildings. There was the giant ship in the middle
Yeah, yeah.
that like had really weird collision. Yeah. I remember playing on that one a bunch. That was a lot of fun. Just because of how open it was in the middle. It was such a risk, but then like you could try to like traverse. You'd go through like the vents just to run into someone and say no, and then you just die. Or like yeah, no, it was a lot of fun playing that one.
Yeah, that whole summer was
Yeah.
just like, because it would be like, because we were in CST and they're in EST, so they get off, but then Carlo would get
Yeah.
on after it would already be
Yeah.
like 3 in the morning, and then Wick would get online
Yeah.
because it's like 6 hours later for him, and that's how we would know it was like way
Yeah.
too late.
It was like 5 in the morning, 4 in the morning. I'd be still be up just playing, and it's like, yeah, no, those are some good times.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
To touch more on that project you talked about earlier, though,
Mhm.
you said this at the beginning of the interview also, but it's been over a year since your last full project, which is the longest break that you've ever taken
Yep.
between releases. And I know
This one,
last year you released that scrap like demo album, which was a lot more
yeah,
like noise focused than your last couple projects have been. So
yep.
when you do end up going back to music, where do you see yourself taking your sound next?
Funny you say that. I've been working on an album for like the past year, off and on, very off and on. This has definitely been the longest break I've taken, in like a music sense, but even then, it's still like only like it's only kind of a break. It's just like a break from like working every day on something.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the I when I took music breaks, I never really like stopped making music, but I would slow down. I never truly stopped making music. So when it came to like recent, I've just been on I've slowed down on making stuff sort of thing. But I've been working on an album, like a personal project for the past year or so, and I wanted to say it was post rock, but not really. It's loud, a lot of guitars, a lot of drums. The drums are way too loud on every song, but I don't feel like fixing it. I don't know. I don't want to say it's kind of the point, but it does fit, I think. But yeah, I've been working on that. And I think I'm done with it. I'll release it into the wild sometime soon, maybe. Right? But yeah, I would, if I was to return, I've been making a lot of like 2012 SoundCloud type beats, like Pokemon games, or not Pokemon, but like game type beats.
Mm-hmm.
One of my biggest influences when it comes to production, funnily enough, is Ricey K, who literally his whole shtick is that he samples like video games and just makes beats out of them. And I don't know why, but he has a couple songs that are like just really stuck with me. And I think it's like a very nostalgic sound for me because it's video game samples and it's also like 2012 type beats, 2015 type beats sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So like it hits a very specific note for me that I just love, and that's
Ooh,
what I've been
wait.
doing beat wise.
Do you want to talk about Trap Ketchum?
Oh my goodness, yeah, yeah, no, Chaff Ketchum is a that's a I love that album. I haven't listened to it in a bit, but yeah, no, it's a very yeah, it's pretty much me as a person almost. It's like you got your beats, you got Pokemon samples, and you got Chauffeur rapping about like just random nerd Pokemon
Mm-hmm.
references, and it's like, wow, that's actually awesome. And it's super nerdy, but it's also very cool to me. Yeah, I appreciate that a lot. And yeah, no, I just really like that album. I like how it sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't come off as like corny to me. I think just because it's done in like a kind of jokey not like jokey, but like it's serious, but not like too serious sort of thing. But it's not done sarcastically either. Like if it was just some guy rapping about like super nerdy stuff over, or like if it was done, it isn't done too nerdy. It's still cool in a sense. It's cool to me. But yeah.
Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention this earlier, but like you said, you went in like a post-rock direction with this project, but you also have sampled a lot of just like rock stuff in general with your like older stuff. Like you did like what's the song name? It's the Boris song.
I've sampled a couple Boris songs.
But it's like the really
I sampled
long
Just
one.
Abandon Myself.
Yeah, that one.
Just Abandon Myself. Yeah,
that's like that, and then like Heart Shaped Box. Like you have like a very big like rock influence on your work too. So
yeah. I've always been kind of rusty with rock. I don't listen to it too much, but I always do like to listen to it, and especially post rock. But like, Just Abandon Myself by Boris is my favorite song like ever. I think, namely, like the first like 6 minutes or so are amazing, and then it goes from amazing to amazing, because the second half is just it's like a blanket of noise, and that's some of the most beautiful like music I've ever heard, just because like, okay, I think the best way to put it, I had this super old mutual that I haven't talked to in like ages, from like back when I had like 20 followers on Twitter. They made this tweet like, I think it was along the lines of like, sometimes I put the color like a pink color directly onto my eyes, and then put on Just Abandon Myself and imagine myself in my mother's womb. And I think that's the best way to put it. Because it really feels like, I don't know, there's something about that song, just it feels like a blanket, or like it's so warm and yet so like harsh, but also beautiful. I don't know. It's a bunch of things, but it's beautiful, and it's my favorite song, and I haven't listened to it in a while, but dang, I love it. But yeah, that's like, when it comes to rock, I also listened to Nirvana specifically a lot as a kid. I don't know why. That just nice, a lot of nice songs. You Know You're Right is like, I love that song. And like, oh, Heart Shaped Box too is also one of my favorites. But yeah, no, I just haven't listened to Nirvana in like ages. There's a lot of bands I haven't listened to in like ages, just because I haven't listened to a lot of rock in a while. I think the most recent was probably like when I had my thing for Mogwai. I listened to a lot of their earlier works. Some like the Stereo D is crazy, or that whole EP. I forget the name of it, but it's the one with
like
Superheroes of BMX. Oh, that's the second one. That's the one with the Christmas song, right? I think. I forget. Oh wait, no, I think it's called. Is it? No, it's not called 3 songs. That one's 6 songs. It's the collection, but the first one is an EP. It has a Superheroes of BMX, which goes into Now You're Taken, which goes into Stereo D, and Superheroes of BMX is like, I did a cover of it for the Thank You KG, I think it was, collection, whatever, compilation. I did that. I did a cover of it because that's a beautiful song. I love that song. And then Now You're Taken is just pretty. It's a very like quiet, somber little song. And then you have Stereo D, which is like them. They play a song for the first like 3 minutes, and then the rest is just like free improv or noise rock, whatever. They're just doing whatever for like 15 minutes. It's crazy. And then it ends in a techno song for like half a second. I don't know why. They were bored, but I like that song a lot. But yeah, no, that was like my most recent like binge, I think, for bands, because usually I listen to like 3 albums from a band and then I just never touch them again. I don't know, it's a weird habit of mine. But yeah, that's all I have to say for rock, I think.
Moving on. So when I first met you in 2021, I remember you struggled a lot with getting people to actually use your beats, not because they were bad, but because you actually had an issue with like reaching out to the people to use them, right?
Yeah.
Since then, though, you've become part of the collectives Kawaii Goons and Killstreak Certified, And at this point, it's almost harder not to see someone using your beats. Like they're on a bunch of like Noah and like May's projects, for example.
Yeah.
Which has been really awesome to see. So I'm really proud of how far you've come. So I wanted to know, what are things that you're most proud of in terms of like just like personal growth that you've had?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm just like happy with the fact that people are able to listen to my music and feel something. That's the coolest thing to me. When I make songs, that's really all I want is well, like when I make a song, I make it for myself first and foremost, which is why I don't like even with like sending out beats, I don't send out much beats anymore. Just because not only do I only want to work with like people I'm really close to, but also just because I view music as a hobby, not like a potential career or whatever. So I just really want to I just want to make songs, you know. And when I make something and someone's like, "Wow, this is beautiful," it's like I don't know. It always makes me smile just to see that my music can bring out emotions in someone, and I think that's what makes me the most like proud of my music in general. And but I am glad to be in the collectives I'm in. I'm very happy with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of like personal stuff at all, you feel like you've improved on?
I'm getting better at combing my hair or brushing my hair. My mom had to detangle it one day and she's like, please don't ever let it get like this again. I'm like, okay. And I think that's actually improved my well-being a bit. It's a little more upkeep, of course, but like at least it isn't just a giant tangled mess. That was awful. But yeah, no, I don't know. Yeah, I've been in a better place and I don't know why. It's just like, I don't know. Life has just been generally a little bit better than what it was a few years back, and I'm thankful for that because I just pray it lasts. Hopefully, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm very thankful for that too. But there's also some people that I kind of want to know that you're thankful for. So as the episode comes to a close, is there anything you'd like to give a shout out to?
My mom. Okay, I was just gonna say my mom, but I feel bad. But yeah, no, thank you. I just want to shout out. I don't want to shout out like people in specific because I know I'm gonna miss someone. So I'm just gonna say thank you to KGKSC and anyone else who's supported me throughout all these years because I've met so many people throughout just making music and also just in general. It's hard to believe where I've been, how much how just like in general, it's a lot. I've met a lot of people, heard a lot of things, seen a lot of things, but I'm thankful to be where I am, and I wouldn't be here without everyone who supported me. But yeah.
All right, well, shout out everyone that supported her. And of course, shout out Black Smoke Rises. Thank you so much for doing this. This is super fun to do and easily one of my favorite interviews that I've done in a minute. So glad we can make this happen.
Thank you for letting me talk for like 2 hours. My throat is actually sore.
You know, it's exactly 2 hours, like as of right now.
Yeah, no, I didn't realize I could talk that much. But yeah, thank you for letting me blab on about the Source Engine or whatever.
Of course, yeah, and it's been nice. We haven't like properly talked in a minute, I feel like.
I know. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just so bad about like talking in actual like servers and whatnot. I'll join VCs and like some other servers, but that's it.
Yeah, because I
barely check my phone.
Yeah, I haven't done like proper VCs in a while, so it's not like a. And then with all the like KG ones, it's like I don't know most of those people that well, so I don't feel comfortable enough to like hop in there. So it's like.
Yeah, that was my issue for a lot of it, and then I don't know. I think it's half of it is I grew more comfortable, and the other half is we started playing like Mario Kart, and everyone plays Mario Kart, so it's like it's a fun way to bond with others. But yeah,
Well, all of our links will be in the description. So if you want to check out our music, go do it.
Yay.
Although I have thought about it, and it's like I realized that people probably wouldn't watch these all the way through unless they know the artist
Oh
already.
yeah,
So I feel like saying that doesn't make
yeah,
sense, but I feel like I should be saying it anyways. So
yeah. You like might as well, you know.
yeah,
It
might as
doesn't
well.
hurt
Go support her
if
even
you've
more
gotten
than
this
you
far
already
and you've
do.
never heard me somehow.
Yeah, 2 hours into the interview. Although I know my friend told me he's gonna listen to all these when he does his homework to like catch up on them, so
Yeah.
he'll get
Yeah.
put on. But yeah, so I'm Amu. This has been the Hidden Driveway Show. Goodbye.
Yep. All right. Bye. Bye. Video. Bye.